I love you. Well, howdy doodly doo. Welcome back to the couch. So happy to have you here, Couch Potatoes. I am the Green Traveler from Gorsh.
And I am the Faceless Leone, Hoodly Doo. This is a podcast about movies and TV, and it's called Green and Faceless on the Couch. Welcome.
It's called that because that's us, and we're on the couch.
Right now.
Nope.
No, I'm in an
comfy
office
chairs,
chair.
But
yeah.
I mean, when I'm watching the movies, I'm on the couch.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
And if we ever like make enough money and we're like in a studio, I'm sure we'll like arrange it so that we're sitting on a couch.
Yes, yeah, of course.
Yeah. If we have like a camera on us and we're on like, you know,
and if you want us to be that well off from doing this show, please visit us at patreon.com/greenandfaceless.
I was hoping you would take it there. I was trying to lob a softball for a good pitch.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Yeah. And I hope I didn't strike out because...
No, you hit a home run. Hit a home run. I can feel the money coming in. We appreciate it so much, guys. You know who really appreciates money? Disney. Because we're going to be talking Marvel's Eternals.
Yes,
number 26.
Yeah,
in the MCU. And we're going to be putting that up against Netflix's Don't Look Up. Netflix, they also love money. So,
yes.
Yeah, they both studios poured their hearts into their projects. Marvel, not as much as they do with some of their projects, but let's talk that first.
I thought it was pretty decent. I will say straight out the bag. It's also something different. It's not something that I thought they would ever do, which excites me because there's a whole bunch of shit that I thought they would never do. And
like sex
they're
scenes.
doing some of it. Like sex.
Eternals, it has the first MCU sex scene, I believe. And as an individual who, honestly, I can care less if sex is in my movies, but if it's in there, I want it to like make sense for like character development or something. And no, Marvel has their first MCU sex scene, and it's just dumb. Like
I can't remember who was in the sex scene. I remember you complaining about the sex.
I believe it was Gemma Chan who's playing Cersei, and maybe Richard Madden playing Icarus. I believe in a flashback scene.
Okay.
I think. It might not have been. I might be completely...
It might have been Kit Harington.
It might have been Kit Harington, who he's also in this. Yeah, Richard Madden, famous as Robb Stark, and many other roles, of course. And then Kit Harington, famous as Jon Snow, and many other roles, of course.
Yes.
But in this, Kit Harington plays Dane Whitman, Cersei's modern-day boyfriend.
Who I guess we're doing something with later. That's all I'll say about that.
Yeah, I will tag on to that. Stick around for the two staple Marvel post-credit scenes. Normally with the post-credit scenes, you know, one of them's important, one of them's not so much important. Sadly, and you know, also thankfully to the people whose names are in the credits, the second and last post-credit scene is important, so you do have to stick around for that, or just fast forward since it's on Disney Plus.
Yes, you're streaming it, so you can just fast forward it. Just try to read the names as they go by, okay? It's important.
Just give them that credit. Just like at least make fun of their name or something.
Look at that.
His name's John.
Just John. They didn't even bother to give him a second name.
So Eternals. Do you want to summarize Eternals or don't look up? I don't mind.
I'll do Eternals. So we got a long time ago, back when civilization was beginning, these godlike humanoids were sent here by their god, who's a celestial named Asherim. Is that right? I believe it's Acheron.
Arishem, I believe, maybe.
Arishem?
But whatever. Did you recognize that voice? I don't know if you looked up that voice.
Let me take a look.
It's a voice more of your childhood than mine, I will say. It's David Kaye, the voice of Megatron.
The voice of Megatron.
I don't know if you watched Transformers, honestly. I
didn't watch it as much as I collected the toys. I'm a fanatic of toys.
Yeah, but when I heard that voice, I was like, I know that voice from somewhere. And I had to look it up, and it was just known as the voice of Megatron. I was like, yeah. It definitely does sound like Megatron talking to me as this celestial being.
Yeah, that's ringing true to me. Arishem is bigger than the planet Earth, which is where this story takes place. Yeah.
So if you're coming into Eternals and you're wondering, the trailer made it look like this is modern day and these are all godlike beings, why haven't they been helping out at all for the last 25 Marvel movies? Well, it's explained in Eternals. It's a small spoiler, so I don't care about explaining it. They're only supposed to help out if deviants are involved, and deviants so far have not been involved.
Because they killed them all lots of years ago, they think. But then...
Garbage excuse.
In the yes, very bad excuse. You're right. Because they've all been on Earth this whole time. And let's go ahead and go through all the Eternals right now. They are led by Ajak, played by Salma Hayek. And you'll notice that these names might ring familiar if you're fans of mythology, especially Greek mythology, because these characters, these heroes that have been on Earth all along, supposedly inspired these myths that we are familiar with. And you'll notice that they're just slightly off, the names, mostly. She leads Athena, played by Angelina Jolie, who is obviously like a goddess of war kind of deal. They do make that reference several times. They make sure you don't forget that.
And she's also suffering from
yes.
I don't remember what the mental disease is, but
Mad Blairy.
Yeah, something mad. Yeah, I can't remember what that second word was, but mad is the first word, and that's what that makes her. She kind of forgets where she's at, and she becomes, a detriment to not only herself but those around her because she is a warrior. So when she goes mad, she's immediately throwing her blade, and the other Eternals have to stop her. So that was a very interesting.
It was, and
thing.
It is also leads to the Eternals breaking up their familial unit and because they've done their mission, and also the people around them. So when they first came, they were very much in the place of being communal leaders as well as protectors. But as time went on and the human race became more advanced and more independent, they stopped listening to the Eternals, and the Eternals decided to blend in and hide. Because she's going mad, Athena, they're supposed to kill her. That's the protocol of this disease. And they decide to break up instead, and her boyfriend, Gilgamesh, he is played by Ma Dong-suk, and I believe I said that right, but he went by Don Lee in the credits for this movie.
Okay.
He manages to stop her in this one event where she's attacking everybody and convinces Ajak to let them go, and he would protect her and anybody that would come around. So that's a kind of a nice little side story that's going on, kind of representing, other mental illnesses in our world and how
Yeah, and
they don't get treated very well.
Yeah, I like how they try to give all of the character, like all of the Eternals, like not only their own personalities, of course, that's kind of easy to do with all the different actors, but like their own personal like quandaries and goals and things, like motivations. Like they did a pretty good job at the supporting characters, and which, you know, not all the Eternals are main characters. You know, it focuses on a few main ones, but like the supporting ones, which Athena and Gilgamesh kind of are, they're still more main than some of the other Eternals, but you know, they're middle ground. But like their side story, it doesn't take away from the big story at all.
No.
But it's a good ad. I really enjoy. Right. I did appreciate her story a little bit.
And they do, I think, a good job of keeping it in the background until it's relevant.
Yeah.
Story.
Yeah.
I think it didn't seem, once it became relevant, it didn't seem out of nowhere. It was, I think, well placed. So that's those two. Another pairing to talk about, we already mentioned them, Cersei, based off of Cersei, but with C's. Also, it might have been Kirke, because there's only hard C's in Greek. But Gemma Chan, obviously, and Icarus, you know, the wings, he can fly. Oh, we didn't mention Gilgamesh is super strong. And Cersei, when she touches things, she can turn them into anything else. Like, almost like Midas touch kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But she has control over it, I think.
And also, just to get my Doctor Who corner in, Gemma Chan was in the Waters of Mars episode. So, yeah, with David Tennant. It's a great episode.
Is that... I'm trying to remember. Yes.
That's the one.
Yes, I remember her back there now. I remember her.
Yeah. With
that's
the
astronauts, Tennant, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like the astronauts are like liquefying. I can't remember. There's like a water
There's
creature.
Some
I can't remember what it is.
Water creature.
Creepy episode. It's very eerie.
Yes, it is eerie. Definitely. And then we already know what Richard Madden is from. But he can fly. Icarus can fly.
He also has like the Cyclops vision.
Or
Superman. It's more, I guess, Superman.
Right? He's basically Superman, though I'm not sure that he's definitely not the strongest physically among them, but they do treat him like he's the best. In fact, Kingo Kumal Nanjiani, who I've seen a lot of stuff with you, and I think you're hilarious. I'm glad that you're doing more mainline roles.
Agreed.
He can shoot energy beams or whatever in various sizes, and he almost exclusively calls Icarus boss, because Icarus always led the teams, and that's why. But it becomes a problem and I'm guessing we'll get to that point. I don't know. Where we really are going for it, aren't we? There's a lot of characters.
We might not. Yeah, there's a lot of characters in the story. The problem with this movie is it tries to be an epic,
right?
But it's not in my opinion, it's not entirely intriguing enough to be an epic. But it has all of the characteristics and like needs,
right?
And that's one of the problems is it just there's a lot to it and it goes on and on. It's like 2 hours and.
Right. I think there needed something. I don't know. We'll get to that point, I'm sure. But
I do want to say, though, I know a lot of people have already said it, but when Richard Madden, when I watched the trailer for Eternals, like about a year ago now, when it first came out, when the trailer, first came out, I saw Richard Madden. I thought, why is Sebastian Stan now in this movie as not Winter Soldier? I was like, that's so weird. Why would they have him play two different people? And then at the end, I was like, oh, it's Richard Madden. I never realized.
Really funny about that. So Cersei, we've already mentioned in the past, dated Icarus, but she's now dating Dan Whitman, played by Kit Harington. And when that first couple of scenes were going on, I think both me and Sarah was like, oh, why does Ikaris look different? We were so confused for just a few minutes. And they do kind of look similar. They really do.
Jon Snow, Robb Stark, and Richard Madden, Kit Harington, and Sebastian Stan all look wildly close.
They do. And
it's very unnerving.
And it did take me a minute to be like, no, that's Kit Harington. And then Sarah was like, so I'm kind of confused because did Ikaris lose his memory because he's acting weird? And I'm like, oh, that's Kit Harington. I thought the same thing. It was funny. So it's a good thing they made him play half brothers. I'll say.
Yeah, Game of Thrones did a great job in casting. They should have just grabbed Sebastian Stan to come in there and play another role if he wanted to.
He was a little too old to play Bran, probably.
Yeah. Maybe with some makeup, he could have been Ned Stark. I don't know which one's the oldest of all of them.
Yeah.
Well, we got a great Ned Stark,
Uncle
though. I don't want to.
Benjen. Could have been Uncle Benjen.
That's a good one. There we go. All right, we'll recap. we'll go back in time. We'll find the producer, the casting director.
There's something coming out Game of Thrones wise, I think.
Yeah, the Targaryen. Something with the Targaryens.
Also, Lord of the Ring wise, something's coming out for Amazon.
It's full disclosure for everybody. I haven't actually watched the Game of Thrones show. I've read all of the books. Mm-hmm. I love the books. I've only gotten through 2 seasons of the show before I just can't. So I'm trying. I still try, at least once a year I've tried, but...
Hey there, couch potatoes. This is the future Leon here. Just wanted to say that we had quite a few drops in this recording, unfortunately. We were able to edit around most of them. Unfortunately, we missed our conversation about Sprite, played by Leah McHugh. She is a shape-changing Eternal and is stuck in her normal form as a child. So there's some interesting plot things about that, and she's also essential to what goes on between Cersei and Ikaris. And then we continued on to talk about Phastos, and part of that conversation was gone, and Phastos was played by Brian Tyree Henry. Enjoy the rest of the show. Thank you. When they break off from each other back in the medieval times, he eventually winds up having this family with this, I don't remember what his husband's name was, but his husband knows everything. But I have to wonder with these eternal things, we watched a shit ton of Doctor Who. How many relationships has he been in?
Yeah, that's kind of what bothered me a bit was I love his character.
Yeah.
He's one of the more minor focused on Eternals. He has his moments, of course, but they don't really go deep into exploring him. And yeah, his relationship was one thing that I was like, I wish we could have explored this aspect a little bit more because it kind of disturbed me. Because I love him having a relationship. I think that's great. But he's building a family, and I'm just like, how is that gonna?
You just have to watch them die.
It's just that. I guess I do want to I do want to reinforce what I had just said. I wasn't disturbed by him being in a homosexual relationship. It's the fact that he himself is immortal, and then his husband, and the kid will just grow old and die. And I was just
they're just gonna grow old, and you're gonna look exactly the same.
And the movie doesn't really go into that at all. I'm like, that's one of the more interesting aspects of these characters that I would have liked explored.
Yeah, I want to know if he has done that in the before in a few centuries that passed, and how that affected his character. And they do talk about that, I think, with one of the other characters. But I'm mixing things. I'm thinking of me / Ashilda, who played Arya Stark. Okay.
Oh, man.
So there's Makari. She is probably based off of Mercury. She's super fast. Played by Lauren Ridloff. I don't know about Lauren, but the character is also deaf. And so most of the other Eternals know how to sign to her, which is cool. But mainly, she communicates through Druig, played by Barry Keoghan? I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure it's an Irish word, but I don't know how to say it.
He was the one that, like, he looked so familiar to me, but I could not. Right. Like, I think I looked up his filmography and I was like, I don't recognize you, I don't think.
Oh, he was in Green Knight. He was the guy who tied him up.
Thank you. Yes. Okay. Because I was going to say, like, the whole movie, I'm sitting there and, like, I did, like, a quick look at his filmography and didn't see anything. Oh, thank you.
Well, he can control people with his mind.
Yeah. Which, again, that's another one that was, like, a little disturbing that he does it so often. And you're kind of wondering, like, maybe that's something they could have gone into as well. Like, coming, like, not to spoil the modern day, but they come to a village that he is, he's not controlling the whole village all the time. Right. But it is a peaceful village because he does step in and just assume control at times. It's kind of like a
cult. Yeah, it's kind of like his cult. And I think these people are willingly allowing themselves to be his puppet when he feels. And they all wear blue.
I feel like that's where I'm at with this movie. Is like it's a very fascinating. There's a lot of good themes, and I like a lot of the stances that they're making on the characters because I haven't read the comics, and neither of you for these characters, and so neither of us really know what the comics are. What the comics that they're based off of. But I looked into them a little bit, and they did a lot of good, like, gender changes for many of the characters. I know I think Sprite was the one that I can recall that was a gender switch for the movie. I know there was others, I just can't remember who. But, like, they were more inclusive with their casting than what the comics were represented as when they were, created way back in the day by Jack Kirby. So, like, that's all good. And I think there's so many good themes that they were trying to explore with this film. But I think they just needed to, like, shoehorn that deviant plot in there so that they had something to go with. And I was just like, I would have been more interested if you're just focusing on the Eternals in the modern world and how they're utilizing their powers.
Or even if they did, like, a semi-vignetted kind of thing about how they lived through all this time. Like you said, that they try to make it this epic, but they don't spend the time that an epic would.
Right.
Like, that's the greatest part about epics, I feel like, is watching so much time pass and so many locations. Mm-hmm. So I feel like if they wanted to go that route, that they could have done more with flashbacks and stuff like that, or maybe. I don't know. But I do like what happens in the end when it concerns Acherum and the Celestials and all of them. And there's secrets between them and Acherum. I will say that much.
Yeah.
And it is really interesting. It's a really interesting look at how different people treat faith or duty or anything like that. And I'm just trying to talk around spoilers, and it's kind of hard because I don't want to go behind a spoiler wall for this one. Not really.
Right. That's the thing with this movie is it has a lot of introductions for the MCU.
Right.
And it's like things that would be fun to talk about, but at the same time, they are really going to spoil what's coming with the MCU. So it's like, I don't want to put up a spoiler wall either because we just ain't got that time.
We don't have that time. We've already talked a good 20 minutes just about this. Yeah. And we haven't really talked much of the plot. But like you said, there's a lot of spoilers to talk around.
Yeah.
But they get back together. I think this is a spoiler, but a minor one enough. Somebody has killed Ajax. So now they're trying to figure out how that happened, and they also have noticed an influx of deviants, and the deviants also seem to gang a leader in Crow. I believe that's
Crow.
Yes. And that's Bill Skarsgård for you guys.
Yeah, Pennywise the Clown.
You'll never recognize him in this role.
No. Yeah, the I will admit the CGI kind of like I'm sure it was good, but it wasn't like
the wowing. Celestials were much better than
I agree with that.
The Deviants.
Yeah, you felt the scope of the Celestials pretty well. With Ajax dying, I feel like that should have been much quicker. I'm sure if I were to rewatch it, it happens in 20 minutes or so. But like, if most of the stories are already going to be told in flashbacks, that's fine. Make it more of like a mystery epic kind of thing,
right?
And that would have been more entertaining for me. But yeah, it happens pretty deep into like near the end of Act 1 or maybe beginning of Act 2, and I'm just like, woo. This is what we're going to be doing. They do a lot
of setup before they get to that point, which, I wanted to... it was good to know who Ajax was and to have some connection to her, but most of her character work is after she's dead, which I don't necessarily mind that either.
No, I don't either. And Salma Hayek, just like, she's brilliant, and I enjoy her a lot in this role. It's not like her best role ever, but like to see her in the MCU... is just like it's a nice fun thing because everybody's going to be in the MCU eventually.
Oh, everyone is in the MCU already. I mean,
I'm trying to think. I don't know if Anya Taylor-Joy's been in it yet.
Angelina Jolie in one of these capes, man.
Oh, Anya Taylor-Joy was. She was in the New Mutants, so I guess technically.
Oh, she was. I didn't see that one, but I
haven't seen it either.
That one's going to be MCU canon.
Yeah, it's probably not. Yeah, Bubble Universe. She'll get recast as somebody else in the MCU.
Yeah, exactly.
Like other people.
So, how do you feel about Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate?
I'm very intrigued by that. I think that's going to be good.
That's going to be good, I think.
After watching that one Pierce Brosnan, that one... What was that movie called?
It was the Thomas Crown Affair.
Thomas Crown Affair, yeah. After seeing that, I'm kind of like, I'm feeling it again. Yeah. He's older now and more sexy, so...
Yeah, and he's got a fucking magnificent beard now.
Yeah, he does.
Just thank you for... I mean, it's like approval from your dad. It's cool, guys. We can wear beards now.
Yes. Is there more to talk about with Eternals?
I think...
They name-dropped Batman. I don't think we mentioned that.
They name-dropped Batman, which was really funny because that means DC Comics exists in the MCU.
Yeah. And it kind of, I don't know. At the same time, it just feels like, MCU poking fun at Disney. It's like, we're making good movies, guys. What are you fucking doing?
We're making good movies. You suck, Warner Brothers.
It's gonna be the year for DCU. They got 4 movies coming out. They can do it.
I'm excited for most of them. I mean, now that those posters for Black Adam came out, I'm a little more excited. Because I was like, why are they doing a Black Adam movie?
Because they got Dwayne Johnson aboard.
Dwayne Johnson. That's why. You're right.
Yeah, I don't think there's much more with Eternals.
Closing statements, then.
Yeah. It is fun. I did enjoy it. I know it seems like I'm being down on it, but like it's an enjoyable Marvel film. Like, there's many different rungs of a Marvel film, and it wasn't garbage. There haven't been many garbage Marvel films. I can think of like one, but I'll save that for when we get to the MCU. Yeah, I can think of a couple, actually. That's true. But it's in the middle range of the Marvel films where it's like, it's enjoyable. You can watch it, and it seems like it's outside of the realm enough that you don't have to be deep in the MCU's blanket to like totally get it.
If you really wanted to.
Yeah. Because they don't do anything except there's a geographical change towards the end to an ocean and somewhere in the world, I will say.
Yes.
And they mentioned the one thing I mentioned earlier about like, wow, we didn't help the Avengers because there were no deviants involved. And like, that's it. That's like the only mentions in the MCU. It's a very small on the bubble universe. So I give it 2.5 stars. It's fun enough. And we didn't mention that this is directed by Chloe Zhao, who Nomadland.
Wow.
Yeah. So she went from Nomadland to this, and
both as much successful.
As much as we've been as I've been saying, like meh, it could have been more epic if it was trying to be so epic. At the same time, great job, Chloe Zhao, because like you had a massive cast. Yeah. You had to Disneyfy or Marvelfy an epic story, and I think you did a good job. You did what you had to.
I enjoyed it enough to say that I definitely will watch it again. And I'm also just a sucker for mythology. So anytime you say, oh, look, we're going to be playing with these mythological characters that you know about, and there's going to be so many twists because it's a superhero show. Yeah. I mean, it was made for me. To be perfectly honest.
That statement there makes me think and just want to throw out, we need to do a TV Talks on American Gods sometime.
Yes, we should. I've always wanted to watch it. Always wanted to. Neil Gaiman actually did a run on the Eternals.
Wow, that's fucking awesome. Now I want to read that.
I love that reaction. It took you just a minute. I like it.
Yeah, I had to let it sink in. I was like, of course I know that Neil Gaiman did The American Gods, but then I was just like, no, you said Eternals.
What? The wiki. God damn. It's on the Wikipedia that I opened up. The
wiki feet.
There's a collection edition hardcover out there of his telling of the Eternals. Now you're so giddy.
Now I'm going to have to rob a bank.
I didn't give it a rating. Gets a full face. I will watch it again. There's lots more things that probably could have been said about it, but we got to move on. This show, we talk about more movies than one most of the time. Except for once a week, where we talk about one.
Except for our most often. Let's move on though. Let's go into Netflix's Don't Look Up.
But before let's do a soda pop break.
You're right.
Soda pop.
Gotta stay hydrated.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Even though soda's a diuretic, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Potatoes. Are you ready?
Okay.
You ready, Jedi?
Are you ready?
Yes, sir. Don't look up.
Hey, there's something right above your head, but don't look up.
Don't look up. And just so you know, it's naked. It's a good Mythical Morning joke whenever they're doing it's just like, don't do this. Just so you know, it's naked. Don't Look Up, directed by Adam McKay. Adam McKay doesn't normally do it for me. Some of his bigger past works have been Anchorman, Talladega Nights, Step Brothers, and then more recently he's been hitting it out of the park for me with The Big Short and Vice.
Yeah, those are both good. So he's gotten more political as he's gone along.
Yeah. He went from Will Ferrell to politics.
Okay. I'm not going to say that Talladega Nights wasn't political. Secret review of Talladega Nights.
Never seen it.
Actually, honestly, it's one of the first movies that I watched with Will Ferrell. It's definitely feel like the one that really blew him up. And he does a lot of the yelling, and I'm not a big fan. Yep. Sorry, Will. But anyhow, the rest of the movie is great. Sacha Baron Cohen is in it. I always love John C. Reilly. At the very least, when you're going to watch a Will Ferrell movie, he's usually in it.
I mean, that's the thing. Those movies are big. People love them. They love Adam McKay. So I understand why he's popular. Just doesn't always hit my my comedic gut, whatever you would call it. I don't know. But I wrote down two words that the producers, when you're making the DVD cover out there for Don't Look Up, you can slap this on the DVD cover. The two words I wrote down were steamingly delicious. The comedy is steamingly delicious. It really is. He really got the satire just down so beautifully in this movie.
Just right. Yeah.
And so here is the story. Kate Dibiasky, played by Jennifer Lawrence. She is a grad student, I think, right?
I believe she's getting her doctorate in astronomy.
Astronomy. Okay, I was going to say, I thought it was astronomy, but I was like, that seems a little basic. No, yeah, it's...
It might have been astrophysics.
Something, yeah. But she discovers that there is a comet heading towards Earth. And she's doubled and triple checked her math. And it is on a crash course collision. And it is an extinction level event. Meaning all of the planet would basically be wiped out by it. I can't remember the size of it. It's like the size of a mountain. It's like Mount
Everest. Somebody said
it Mount Everest?
Everest at some point.
Yeah. Yep. Huge. Just fucking huge asteroid. And maybe it's a comet.
It's a comet. It is a comet. Yes.
It's a comet. Yeah. That's a... Oh, I'm not like... I watch so much Neil deGrasse Tyson, but my brain turns off when he talks because I just love his voice, but then I'm just like, I don't know what you're talking about anymore. But she goes to her teacher, Randall Mindy, Dr. Randall Mindy, played by Leo DiCaprio, and so they're both very lovely characters. I love both of them so much. She is at first she seems like she's a little more reserved or like in control of her emotions, I would guess.
Right.
They're both very anxious and socially, like, slightly socially awkward. But you kind of get the feeling at the very beginning that if they were to, say, go on TV and have interviews about this comet coming towards Earth, you would think that Leo would be the one who would, like, at the beginning, snap because he would be so jittery.
Yes, but which is very much what they thought would happen.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, this one's a little out of control. She's a little more in charge of her emotions right now, because obviously, yeah. When you discover something that terrifying, you're gonna imagine it. You're gonna go through a buttload of emotions real fast. Because I can't remember how many days they had. They had like 2 months, maybe it was more. No, it was way more than that. It was like 300 and. It was less than a year. It was almost a year. Yeah. Yeah. And they go up the route. They go to some guy named Oglethorpe, I believe. I think it was Oglethorpe. Yes. Played by Rob Morgan.
Teddy Oglethorpe.
Yeah. And he gets them in to see the president, or he's supposed to.
Yes.
So they can inform the president of the United States that there's a dangerous comet coming towards Earth. We need to rally the troops. We need to send the Armageddon crew up there with their oil drills and blow the crap out of it. That's not they don't say that, but that's what I imagine is like, what's going through their heads. They got to stop it somehow. They got to do something to save Earth. Jesus. And trying to get to the president turns to be a little difficult because politics sucks. Yeah. So it's a very, very veiled satire on a certain presidential administration.
Yeah, this is definitely about a very particular administration.
One that didn't quite care about people, but so much itself and its family. Yes. And might have hired their sons and son-in-laws and or sons-in-law and daughters-in-law or daughter and into the administration. You know, very what is that?
Nepotism.
It's not patriarchal. Nepotism. Thank you. Yeah, very nepotistic presidential administration on display here in this movie. And that president is Madam President Meryl Streep. I don't think I ever wrote down her name.
Orlean.
Orlean?
Yep.
Interesting.
Orlean.
Yeah, Meryl Streep as the president is hilarious and annoying.
It is so good.
But you really do get that sense of like, I'm in it for the power, I'm in it for the image, I'm in it for me. And her son is the chief of staff, played by Jonah Hill. I didn't write down his name either.
Shit. Jason Orlean.
That's right. She doesn't even know it at the end because
yeah.
I don't think they ever give his name until the end when she's like, and is Jason with you or whatever? And she's like, Jason. And it's just like, oh, it's her son.
No, I think they do at the very beginning use Jason, because I'm pretty sure that Oglethorpe is like, hey, what's going on? Like, why aren't we getting to see the president? This is important.
That's another funny part is like when they're waiting, when Jennifer Lawrence and Leo DiCaprio are waiting to see the president, there's a general who comes into the room and gives them snacks and water. And he's just like, it's $2 each. And then so they have to pay him $20 for all the stuff. And then like 2 minutes later, you find out the snacks and everything are free.
Yeah.
And it bothers Kate Dibiasky, Jennifer Lawrence's character. It bothers her throughout the rest of the movie. And it's so funny.
Especially like at the end where she's describing it to Timothy Chalamet. Yeah.
I didn't know he was going to be in it.
This teenager named Yule that comes in like right at the end of the movie, really. But
very small part.
It's still a good addition. I really was like, when they introduced him, I was like, he can't be important to the film, but he is. Like he's kind of the heart at the end a little bit. But anyhow, Kate and him get drunk, and she's like, and it just drives me insane. Like, did he need the money? Like,
was it a power move? Was that all it was about?
That was General, I believe Thames is the character name, Paul Guilfoyle. And I don't know if I said your name right, sorry. But he's just wonderful.
But basically, Kate and Randall, Dr. Mindy, they get turned away from the president, who just doesn't care. It'd be bad for the poll numbers. They would, they'd lose their chance at a re-election bid. They don't care if it's going to crash into the earth. It's not politically feasible for her. And so they're like, get the fuck out of here. Don't talk to anybody. And they immediately go to the press, where you get, I don't know if it's the first talk show they go to, but they're a recurring talk show hosting pair in the movie, Tyler Perry and Cate Blanchett.
Yeah.
I don't, sadly, you gotta help me.
Claire was Brie Avanti, and Tyler Perry played Jack Bremer.
Thank you. And they are a hilarious representation of the media.
Yes.
Where, it's just like very about, again, also, it's kind of like they're both very self-centered. It's I've worked on a few news sets, but like fake ones, not like actual airing, but more for like college students to learn.
Purposes.
Yeah. And like, it's so funny how like right up to the last second you become professional before the cameras start rolling. It's like, and we have 5, 4, and it's like even during that countdown, they're still like in the movie. Cate Blanchett is just like, do I look good? Are my breasts looking okay? Like, what's happening here? And like Tyler's like, yep, everything's looking great. We're good.
We're live.
And it's like 1, and it's a straight face.
Yeah.
And they're very focused on keeping it light, keeping it real. It's like, sure, there's a, you guys say there's a doomsday comet coming. Wow, that's, whatever. But like,
pretty sure Tyler Perry at one point says, well, will it kill my ex-wife?
Jesus. But it's the funny thing, as we've already hinted at, that happens is Jennifer Lawrence, Kate Dibiasky, snaps on set because nobody's taking this seriously.
Yeah.
And that kind of sparks this conspiracy theory that, blooms. It's not directly her fault, but like people end up, once it becomes political, once politics gets back into it, it becomes a don't look up campaign where it's like, no, there's no comet coming. This woman's crazy. She blew up on set. She's just a nut job kind of thing. And then Dr. Randall Mindy, he's a sexy doctor. It's Leo DiCaprio with a very good beard, and he's looking very handsome and dapper. And he's knowledgeable. He's kind of like Neil deGrasse Tyson, And, people love him. He's a big thing. But at the same time, they don't trust him. They don't believe it, It's... Again, there's a lot of play on what's been going on in recent times, and I don't know, it's just so fucking funny.
It was so funny. I was kind of worried that it would make me be like, why do we live in this world? And it did. But I was so entertained that it didn't really matter. I would just going back to the world's sexiest doctor, Dr. Mindy. The commercials they did when it kept on getting closer, because he becomes like the spokesperson of the eventually the president turns around and is like, okay, we got to get on this. It's like 6 months later.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, fine. And they decide to make Dr. Randall the spokesperson, as I said, and eventually their nonsense, the administration's nonsense gets so far along, and he's like, wait a minute, who's peer reviewing this? And that becomes a big part of the movie, is like, they're not doing the science at all. They're just coming up with shit. And yeah, it's just the mirror of the real world was too good.
Yeah, it really was. And the president's first plan, their first thing, is they're going to send a team of astronauts up to destroy it. They're going to, I think they were just going to plant bombs. Or I can't remember what they were going to do.
They were going to plant nukes and blow it up. They were doing Armageddon, pretty much.
Exact. Yeah, and that team is led by Ron Perlman, who is a racist colonel who definitely should have not been in the military after a while. He's very he should not, at the very least, he should not be leading this expedition. Yeah. But there's a funny moment where he has his microphone is still on and he's still talking to America, but he's just rambling racist nonsense, and it's just so bad.
Live TV.
Yeah,
and even Orlean was, even President Orlean was like, "Oh, stop him!
Cut the mic, Colonel. You're on the air. Oh, that's right. My bad." But that whole expedition.
It's good.
What was that?
Benedict Drask. That's what they called him.
Oh, Benedict. Yeah, that is a good name. But the whole expedition is brought to a halt by Mark Rylance's character. He's a tech head. He was based off of Elon Musk, apparently. I don't remember that tech head's name.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at his page, Mark Rylance's page. Peter.
I love Mark Rylance.
Peter Isherwell, I think, is how you say it. Yeah.
Yeah, he is. Peter Isherwell is a very socially awkward individual, to the point where people when they're coming to meet him, if they're having an interview, they're like, don't look at him. Talk over his shoulder, don't talk at him, talk over off in a direction. There's so many just particulars that you just you don't want to upset him or anything. He is in control. He's soft spoken, very calm or quiet, but he's he's like a child, I guess. If you put him into a tantrum, it's going to be very bad.
Yeah.
But he comes in and halts the whole expedition because he's like, I got a better idea.
He comes into the room after the launch, and he's like, "Oh, Madam President, can I talk to you out here, please?" and she's like, "Oh, we're in the middle of the now, please."
Mark Rylance is so good.
This character floored me for sure. I fucking love this character.
Yeah, it's phenomenal, and where that leads to, and the jokes they play off of that. Again, all of it satirical with modern day.
Right.
It's so good.
I do want to watch it again. It's all on point.
Right, it's an easy one to go back to, and just like with most Marvel films, stick around for both post-credit scenes.
Yeah.
I will say the only problem I had with this movie, truly, was we got to the ending and I was just like, oh man, that's the ending? And I had to stick around for the post-credit scenes. I'm like, all right, I feel a little better about it. Just a little bit. The ending is the only thing about this movie that bothers me, but it makes sense for the whole movie and everything that they're talking about. So
it does, because this movie is about the divisiveness and indecisiveness of humanity. So I think the ending really works for that reason.
Yeah, I agree.
Because nature still happens, and I feel like that might give it away, but there you have it.
I do. My favorite thing, one of my favorite things in the movie was when they're at a presidential rally. I'll lead this into my closing statement, I guess. Sure. They were at a presidential rally, and Meryl Streep's up there being like, all right, everybody, don't look up. Don't look up. Don't look up. And like everybody starts chanting with her, like, yeah. And then like one guy like looks up and he's just like, holy shit. It's so good. It had me rolling. I fucking love this movie. What can I say? Like, I'm still only going to give it 3.5 stars. I mean, it's easily rewatchable, but it's, and I understand the ending. I really do. And it's not terribly, I mean, it doesn't ruin the experience at all, but it's just, that's the only thing that kept me from a 4-star was that it wasn't the ending I wanted.
Right.
It was the ending that was right for the movie. And I honestly would probably give it 4 stars on a better day, but it only gets 3.5.
Yeah. We already decided these are based on our whims. So it doesn't, this is what you feel. This is your truth. I give it a face. I mean, I definitely really enjoyed it. I will watch it again. It is super funny, but also like it is a little bit like it is good medicine, but it still has bitterness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love laughing at it, but it still hurt my soul a little bit.
It was a hurtful one.
Yeah.
You see characters in this movie and you're like, yep, I deal with them every day.
Right. Oh, last night I feel like I put it in a good way. I said, I can't deal with major news outlets right now. I can't. I need to go and get COVID information every once in a while. Make sure I'm keeping up on that. But this last administration, man, oh God. And I told you last night that maybe 20 years from now, when everything is less what it is now, or more whatever it will be, I would love to get all the history books about this period and really just figure out what the fuck happened.
Yeah. I can see you, like, you're reading like a book for like 20 years from now and you just like call me up one day. It's like, can you believe this kind of man was up for like the governor of such and such state at this time with all the shit in his life? And I'm like, yeah, I was upset about it. It really bothered me.
It really bothered me. Yeah. it's a good time to be bothered.
No, I want that fortitude to be able to stay away, but I don't know. It's like it's got to be something worked out of my schedule. It really does, because like when you go to the news, it hurts. It hurts every day again, and it's just like, oh my gosh. So yeah, that is like another reason why I don't give this a full 4 stars. Is there were some truth bombs in this movie that really hurt.
Yeah, truth bombs can hurt. Truth bomb shrapnel is real, okay? And we're going to have a truth bomb shrapnel support group, and we'll talk about our feelings.
But I think it's hurtful aside. I think it wins. It beats Eternals. Beats all of them darn superheroes in that big group. Which, by the way, that was we didn't mention it in Eternals, but like, I'm kind of like tired of all the big superhero groupings having the exact same characters. Like,
oh yeah, definitely. I mean, there's tropes and archetypes for a reason. I think it makes it easier for the writers,
right?
But yes, there could be some change up. That would be nice. Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just like the entire Eternals movie. I'm like, well, that's your Superman, and okay, that's kind of your Hulk, I guess. And it's just like, I guess that makes him Batman. Mm-hmm. You have Mercury as your or Makari as your
Flash,
speedster. Yeah.
Definitely true.
Oh well.
But the reason why it's that way is
it's the same guys who. Oh, that was like the same guy who wrote the characters in the comics. Yeah, it is. I have been the Green Traveler from Gorsh.
Future Leon here again to say safe travels and good night. Green and Faceless on the Couch is a proud production of Fiction Works 19. If you like the show, please show your support by rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts. Like, follow, subscribe, wherever you might listen. We also now have a Patreon account. If you feel so inclined to support us in a financial manner, please become a patron by visiting patreon.com/greenandfaceless. You can also find more information about us on our Facebook account or on the Fiction Works 19 Instagram account. Thank you so much for listening.